Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a very short knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Miguron Vane II in DLC coated M390 with G10 scale steel liners, titanium pocket clip, and a crossbar lock. This knife comes in at $110. That is pretty amazing. This is not an overly complicated knife. I have a couple of tiny pointers here, some things that probably should change for a new batch of this in the future, but this is largely a very, very good buy. It exists in a zone where there is not a lot of very specific competition for this combination of materials, and I think Miguron did a good job with it. So I'm going to keep it short today. Thanks so much to Miguron for sending it in. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. Links in the description for this guy, so you can check it out if you want to. It comes in a couple of different flavors. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons here. Any custom scales you find in this section can be found down in the description under Original Goat and others. Up against my own Excalibur and the Mini Excalibur, probably would help if I measured it. It's much closer to the size of the Mini Excalibur coming in. Actually, it's exactly the same, 7.5 inches with about a 3.35 inch blade and just shy of 3.25 inches of cutting edge. Let's put it up against, just cutting it a little shorter today, the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue, and the Spyderco Para 3. Very, very close there. How's the action? It's exactly what you'd expect. Miguron does a good job with crossbar locks. They are a little bit boring, but they're accessible to a lot of people and ambidextrous. And yes, they do offer the mounting position on the other side. So about medium to medium high tension Omega springs. Very smooth, runs on bearings. The thumb studs allow you to very easily deploy this, very comfortably deploy it. You can also do the reverse flick if you want. It's pretty much the par for the course experience. There's nothing incredibly special here, but they're doing it right. Let's go ahead and do the carry profile. So thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. It might be a hair thinner. It's imperceivable. This is subtly, is it? I think this is subtly contoured. It's very subtle. Length and height up against the PM2 and the Para 3, and very easy knife to carry. Very pocketable size, similar to the Spyderco Para 3. Let's weigh it. Materials, like I said, include DLC coated M390, some nice blue G10 scales. In this case, they also have Ultim, I think was the other version I unboxed there. Steel liners, G10 backspacer, and you have a titanium pocket clip. So your weight comes in at 3.5 ounces for 3.35 inches of blade. Pretty darn good. Let's go ahead and measure the blade stock thickness here. I'm going to guess it's about 115 or so. 122 thousandths there. Let's go ahead and do the hardware check. I'll get out my tools. As per usual, my tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. T8 for the pivot. I never checked the crossbar lock, but that's going to be a T6. Everything else on this knife is a T8, including, sorry, that was off camera. Body screws are T8, pocket clip screw is T8, and the screw on the other side is also T8. Very easy to take apart. Crossbar locks themselves are not super fun, but as long as you have the right tools for the job, you should be good to go. I have reviewed the version of this knife that is the premium version, which you can still buy. We have a spot back here that probably should have some jimping. There's a good lock-in position here. The choke-up spot is also good. The comfort, the ergonomic comfort is awesome. The cant to the pocket clip is also really good. I like it when they do carry a little better when they slant them right, even if it's not as aesthetically pleasing. The pocket clip on the opposite side, it looks like it will actually carry with the same cant tilting back towards the spine. You can see here how the mounting position is slightly tilted to angle that way. So it looks like that's going to be the same either way. Behind the edge, thickness feels pretty good. It's got a pretty robust tip there. So ultimately, it's a blade shape that's going to be versatile for a lot of different casual EDC tasks. The benefit to the DLC coating is that it adds even further corrosion resistance to M390, despite M390 already being a very corrosion resistant steel. Most importantly, in my opinion, I think it looks awesome, and it provides absolutely absurd scratch resistance. I've demonstrated this many times, even with something like the Spyderco Para 3 with 68 HRC Magna, or not Magna Cut, Maxima, 68 HRC, right? You can see that it will leave those little, boy, it didn't even hardly do that time. Usually you can see like little marks where the material has been sort of pulverized into the DLC coating, and then you can usually just like wipe it off, but in this case there wasn't even anything really to wipe off. This DLC stuff is just hyper scratch resistant. This is of course wildly different than your black wash coatings, your PVD coatings, right? Or especially black from the gas station. That would be paint. DLC is definitely the king of these coatings. There have been here recently, like Ballanet Miura, the rainbow stuff, the high-end rainbow stuff, not the gas station rainbow stuff, but the ultra high-end rainbow stuff that they have been applying to some Herman knives, as is claimed to be in competition with DLC. And I think there's maybe some other things floating around out there, but largely the stuff that's most accessible and most budget friendly is DLC, and I love it. I think it's awesome. It is not scratch proof. If you huck this across your driveway, it's probably going to scratch it. But cutting into normal things, or even like other, metals and stuff like that, as long as you're not grinding it, it's going to take a serious impact or dragging against something super hard to get it to actually scratch. So that's super cool. I do like that. An area where Miguron needs to improve, and they desperately need to, not because they're, failing miserably at this, but because they're already in such a great competition zone. Miguron makes some of the highest quality to cost ratio knives on the market, especially when you look at their budget stuff. But this has the potential to be one of the best mid-range knives out there. Two little things that need to be changed on this. One major thing, and the other thing is arguable. Miguron insists on 59 to 61 HRC. Get with the program, Miguron. Bump it to 60 plus. 60 is where it starts to become kind of okay. 59 is not okay. 59 is not an HRC that M390 should be at. 60 plus, right? So 59 to 61, you might end up with a 61. That'd be great, right? But we don't even want the 59 to be part of the the potential there, the drop pool, the loop pool, so to speak. We don't want that to be in there. 60 plus is where we need to have this, even with the DLC coating. There are so many other companies out there who can do this. Let's get this bumped. I'm going to keep saying it until it happens. The other, depending on who you are, the other issue with this knife, and I think it's actually the same on the first one, is the impact spot for the closed position stop pin, which might be a little bit hard to see. We got to get it in exactly the right lighting. It is. Can we see it? Oh, it's going to be hard. It's right there. So you have a casual EDC person, right? This is stop pin position impacts right here. Somebody who uses this knife casually will probably not have an issue. You could probably carry this knife for 20 years. If you're just using it casually and touching it up here or there, you'll never have an issue. If this is your dedicated pocket knife and you use your knives incredibly hard and you are constantly having to resharpen, again, you have to ask yourself, is that me, right? If it's not you, then there's no this will only affect people who sharpen a lot. If you sharpen a lot, that does not mean that this knife is useless. It means that you'll have to stop sharpening. Eventually, you'll have to stop sharpening as soon as you remove enough material that this is where you're at. Once you're here, you're going to have to stop sharpening it to about here, and you're going to end up with a little bit of a recurve there. Why? Because there needs to be enough material there where that stop pin is contacting in the same point every time. If you keep removing material past this point, well, then in the closed position, the blade will sink lower into the handle and eventually contact the G10, which won't do a lot to the edge, but it'll cause it to close in an awkward way and potentially, cause the edge to not maintain its sharpness, right? So this is something people forget when we talk about this stop pin location issue. The way that it's talked about, it leaves it, and this is especially something that needs to be pointed out to newer people, right? People who are longtime knife enthusiast collectors and users, we know that the end result here is you simply have to stop sharpening at this point, and it just looks ugly. And that's plenty a reason to point this out to these companies like Miguron and say, guys, move the stop pin. Move it. Have the contact point be way back here. You can do that, and then nobody ever has to worry about it. What people don't point out to new people is, oh no, it doesn't render the knife inoperable, right? This is what people forget to point out. The knife does not simply go poof and it turns to dust. No, you either have to add your own sharpening choil or you simply have to stop sharpening back to a certain point, and the knife continues to function. And let's be real, once you have removed that much material from the edge, this thing is way beyond the honeymoon phase. Way beyond. You're not going, oh, my precious beauty. Oh, my goodness. Do you have a boo-boo? Oh, we simply must remedy this at once. Butler! That's not where we are, right? And this is why, on one hand, I agree with this argument. These companies, guys, like, come on, stop pin location. If you want it to be here, that's fine, but it needs to be way back here. Same thing on my Excalibur. We did it, but we put it way back here so that there's just not, unless you are using a grinder to sharpen your knife, which, by the way, is wrong. You're going to mess the heat treat up. Unless you're using a grinder to sharpen your knife every time, you are not going to remove that much material in a lifetime. It's not going to happen. Okay? And, you know, the proof of this is that we have countless examples of this stop pin position on pocket knives that have been largely hailed as like the evergreen EDC knives of the last 2 decades, right? And in that time period, despite those countless models having similar stop pin locations, we have crickets in terms of this becoming an issue for the vast majority of people. Can it be an issue? Yes. Is it something that companies should address? Yes. Is it anywhere near the issue that people blow it up to be? Absolutely not, right? And again, your knife is not rendered useless. Your knife is simply now going to have a part of the blade that is less than easy on the eyes, right? So I don't want people to think that I am, trying to brush this issue under the rug. No, I'm thinking move the stop pin so that we can stop, so that we can stop obsessing over this. Because the vast majority of people who are complaining are people who it will never affect. There's a small percentage of people who are complaining and it will absolutely affect them, right? I'm going to guess of the complainers, of the people in the comments who are reviewing the knife and the review of the knife, of you, I would say maybe 5%. And those 5% have a legitimate reason to complain. And that's enough people that these companies should move the stop pin. But the other reason they should move the stop pin is so that the people who are perpetual professional complainers can simply move on to something else. They can move on to focus their energy on another part of the knife that is suboptimal in some hypothetical scenario, right? Listen, I'm right. I know that this is gonna ruffle some feathers, it's gonna fuss some people up, but here's the fact. I am correct about this. I am right about this. It is an issue, but it's an issue for a substantially smaller population, and it should be moved to take care of those people, to do right by those people, and to make everybody else just shut up about it, because it's not actually affecting. It's like people complaining about tuning methods for hypercars. Do you own that Do you own that car? Are you about to buy it? No, I just like to watch YouTube content. Well, then okay, the people who critique the tuning for Formula One racing, okay. There is a semblance of truth there and accuracy and correctness, but it's not applicable. So the end result here is that this knife in its suboptimal state will be fine. If you buy this and you plan to casually EDC it, you will be fine for years and years and years before you even have to start thinking, golly, that's not really in the best place, is it? And by then, this will be so far out of your rotation, right? I mean, let's be real. If you're watching my content, I mean, this is in a rotation with other knives. The sharpening area will far outlive you, right? But again, it is certainly something that should be looked into. The stop pin should be moved to a location that it's completely outside of the realm of will it actually ever get here, right? So, ergonomically good. Feels good, locks up tight. The blade has no locks. There's no lock stick on the lock. There's no pivot lash. Snaps into the closed position. We have perfect centering here. Everything feels good. Longer than I wanted it to be. Is this a recommendable knife despite those little issues? Yes. Miguron, get your HRC up. That's much, much, much more important than the stop pin, the closed stop pin position. But also change that closed pin. I can't say it. Change that stopped. That closed stop pin position. That's a really hard thing to say. Take the position, the current position of the stop pin where it interacts with the blade when it is closed and move it somewhere else. That would be a good idea. This will be linked down in the description. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.